Our lives are an accumulation of moments, most of them minor and mundane, but some major and magnificent.
This is crazy!
I've never really struggled with documenting my life. Rather, I've struggled with documenting too much of it. From memory boxes filled with notes, tickets, and cards, to the thousands of photos and videos that accumulate on my hard drives. But somewhere along the way, it felt like I was simply collecting items or photos and storing them to rarely be looked at again. I've come to realize that documenting your life is easy, but making it meaningful is where it gets tricky. I guess you could say there is an art to it. It was the summer of 2021, during midsummer on the Finnish lakes, that I had what I would consider my first taste for adventure. It was my first multi-day kayaking trip, and while I had no idea what I was doing, it was just the most beautiful experience.
Ready to go for an adventure today?
Yeah.
There is something about the stillness of the lakes and the reflection of the sunsets that made it all so magical. And I painted it. There was something so rewarding about painting it that I kept doing it. For our first time winter camping, our 10-day trek in northern Sweden, the summers I've spent on the Finnish lakes, and now the first time winter camping here in Norway. The beauty of it isn't just in the outcome. I mean, I'm no Renaissance painter by any means, but it's actually the process of it that makes it so enticing. From deciding what image best represents the overall experience, translating it onto a blank canvas, to ultimately reliving the experience as it comes to life in front of you.
Shall we feel it? Feeling good. Let's go. This is our movie theater.
Especially for those major moments, the kind you will think back on for years to come. Sometimes it feels like a photo or video just doesn't do it justice. How do I translate how a 10-day trek in the Arctic made me feel? What that experience was to me? How do I document it without it getting lost in the abundance of mundane moments I've captured so far? Imagine a bowl of fruit, and you ask a room full of people to take a photo of it. Aside from different angles, the raw photo will still be somewhat similar. Now, if you ask a room full of people to paint it, chances are each painting will differ vastly from the next. All because it was influenced by skill, by style, but most of all perception. While one person might notice the brightness of the colors, another might notice how the light hits the bowl in a certain way. In that sense, a painting becomes a reflection of how you see the world, what you pay attention to, and what stands out to you. Take this painting, for example. During the 10 days we spent on this adventure, we probably only saw the sun for maybe 3 of them. In fact, a large part of it was spent in complete whiteouts.
Today was supposed to be a 12k leisurely ski with amazing sights.
And while they weren't necessarily less beautiful, those calm conditions felt almost euphoric, like life really could just be that simple.
I was talking to Ottilie some time ago. We just came to the conclusion that we don't really care how much money we'd be making, as long as we would make enough money to go on trips like this. Life could be all about this. That probably would be a very, very good life.
Or the sunset on our first time winter camping. And they might not have looked quite as dramatic at that moment, but it felt as though we had stepped into a completely different world. Anytime I look at this painting, I still hear the screams we let out as we saw the raging colors of the sunset.
Look how insane that was.
There is a beauty in knowing that one by one I'm building up this adventure wall. And I don't need to go to the depths of my cupboard to find them or scour through numerous hard drives. They just hang on my wall as an effortless reminder. All it takes is a quick glance and I get to relive those major and magnificent moments.